This is a message for Pastor Paul Vanderclay. I saw who you had on your show this morning, the horrible things that man said about the kayfabe, and I just want you to know that I'm going to destroy you in the April Fool's Conversation cage match.
Tell me that you've lived here your whole life.
No, not yet.
Are you married?
No, no bad habit.
No bad habit, eh? Well, what do you chew that tobacco for?
For nothing. Nobody's fool enough to pay me for it.
Well, tell me, how far is it to the next crossroads?
Follow your nose and you'll come to it. Follow your nose, follow your nose and you.
Hey, bless
That thing is literally making my tower of my PC rattle. That branding now. Welcome back. I apparently needed to prepare more before I continued. But we're gonna go through these damnable cards, get to the end of it, and we're making a special appearance by the good old fashioned casino deck. We still don't know if all of its cards are there, but nonetheless, the card from the casino deck for this stream is the Ace of Hearts. Look at that. I love how that game plays. Hi, I'm General Griswold Gaius-Grim, and if you've never been here before, the important thing to get out of it is that we're coming together to be here as a channel together, even through asynchronous presence. You're still, if you're just watching the replay, you're still here with us. It's magic like that. And when we come, and then I put things in their minds, but I give them a savings throw versus mind control first. That's coming up soon, where you choose survival, social, wisdom, or heart. To save against the mind control, but let's edge that for a little bit. You think about it while. Special thanks to the Shadow Cabal. So say we all. Back again. It's the uncannibal Cassandra, bad comedy shorts, and Zach M joining us tonight. Welcome, welcome. You know it's the part survival, social, wisdom, or heart. Choose. Survivalists with a 5 this time. Socialists, I'm counting that as 16. It was a little cocked, a little cocked. Wisdom, folks, you're going to need a +2. Chant in the hive mind because that's an 8. And hearts, folks, you're going to need more than that. You got a 6 on this one. A 6 there. Indigo kids. Whew. They're so glad. Missing dies are horrible, horrible things, but a 4 for you. A 4 for you. Welcome back. If you've missed the first half of this, I put things on cards and then I make sure I talk about all of them, and then the stream is done. And the big old lightning came and scared me away from the finishing. We covered a lot of fun stuff in it so far, but I'm gonna finish those out. But we're going to start this journey. Hey, yes. Everybody make him feel better. Ian, I'm sorry. It hurts at first, but later. Another great presentation I got on the found on the road back was the top secret interview of Slack over on the Friday morning, nameless. They have this branding in the front, and I like it. So let's run that. Let's start. There it is.
Well, I don't know about the meaning crisis, left, right, black, white, or other vices. But Jesus Christ is right, or if we're all saved. From my perspective, our propositions participate procedurally, running in circles. Remember in body, we're in the age of decay.
You can sing along.
Symbolically speaking, the reapers are reaping, them damn egregores are whispering sweetly. We're all NPCs in the belly of the beast.
Like, how on point is that?
Red pill, blue pill, bread pill, Mars Hill, or DMT, or whatever you feel. Got one and number two.
It got blurred?
It's all the
Something's been blurred out?
thing. So clean your room, repent on Zoom.
All right. That's enough of that. Cleaning the room and repenting. Come on now. Let's jump to the 33rd minute of this fabulous interview and see what happened to come out there. Huh?
In its death knells, like it's no longer an active base. It's just kind of like where they have the PX and commissary and stuff. But the language school is up over on the Presidio, and up the hill from all the stuff downtown, like Fisherman's Wharf and Cannery Row. And so I get there, and my class, I'm assigned Korean, and my class is supposed to start in like 3 weeks. But enjoying my newfound freedom out of basic training, I end up going out in the woods, smoking, partying, doing the whole thing that every young soldier does because we're stupid. And maturity hasn't hit yet. DLI is probably at the time I went there, the wildest place, for a young enlisted person to go, which was pretty wild. But
All right, let's bang out these cards, okay? On this card here, which we thought might be useful if I did the banner over in the StreamYard where I say that it put what was on the card on the banner over here like this, and then showed it that this is the talk soup portion of the thing. Now, I decided at the last moment just now to look it up. But so we'll see what that reveals shortly. What a little due dilettante will do. But what I remember and think of when I think of talk soup is I see there's this fella named Joel McHale, and his team is assembled basically the funniest and or somethingest clips from the internet, and he is presenting them as the MC would. And that is what I see as talk soup. Let's see what the little do dilettante into the dilettante. Now it's do dilettante. What the? Oh, it's with Greg Kinnear.
To be a racist, you must have power.
Just because you're fat, that doesn't mean you eat all the time because I. If I don't want to have a child, isn't it better than I don't? It's not all flowers and spice. It's
children, and the other couples who say raising kids is the greatest joy in life. Maury brought the audience into the debate, and here's all
that. So, as you can see, this is the originating notion behind the Beholder Project.
to be posted.
If I don't want to have a child, isn't it better than I don't?
Reeling with a Feeling Don't Stop continue. The lines were drawn on Wednesday's Maury Povich show. On one side were married couples who don't.
But it's like the lines were drawn over on John Vervaeke's new video. And here's what we pulled out. Okay, so that's why it said talk soup on the card. Now we talked about that. You turn this off, run some branding, and load the next one. Yeah? Okay. Oh, really? Let's have fun with it. LARP! We have the ability to LARP and LARP hard. LARP! We have the ability to LARP and LARP hard. That was a McMo one, I think. I believe that was a McMo masterpiece. The end. Cut that's reasonable length. Yes. Hello, Mills. Hey, how's it going there? Zach says, hard tactical LARP. Now, see, you guys say things like this, and it makes me think you know what I'm talking about and that you understand what's going on. But you might just be saying random words, and I don't know. But next up on the thing I've prepared is What If We Were, though, which opens with the traditional and famous remember it.
This agency. We want.
And then you follow that with this.
We all know that there is no agency any living gent can see doing what is right for me. As lifting up my bro so he can grow some eyes to see that doing what is right for me increases all our agency.
So that's really all you need to know to understand the what if we were so. But in case you need me to break it down a little more, it's what if the hog farm exists? What if we made it happen together, like a project on the internet, like the way that there's this whole thing where like Peterson's story from then till now should be a comic book, and that was the Tapestry project I tried to pitch, but the hog farm. The hog farm is the Hand of God Field Agent Requisition Manual, in which we identify things that happen that agents do and can do to make an influence on increasing the agency of others. Because the thing is, there is no agency, but we work for the agency, and that is ham. And that is ham. And
I listen to him. I think he is telling us the truth. That is indeed what he wants. Those of you who are sort of sniffing for duplicity or grift or dishonesty.
I'm not a cat.
So that's just as an imaginative exercise. What if you LARPed as someone who was part of an agency that helped things happen, and as part of that LARP you did this and this, you made a little bread, more ham. All right, well. And that brings us to the next segment on the card. Well, that doesn't. What brings us to the next segment on the card is where Stephanie Cristo says, I'm already working super hard on my own agency. And that brings us to what's on this card over here, Wolves and Lions. How are we doing on this card? Well, we did the favorite moment. Oh, the most valuable we still have to do. Agent Baxter, we did the PVK on Canada, and now we're doing Wolves and Lions. And first off, Wolves and Lions is I don't know why, but I'm sure it was on purpose that I put wolves and not wolves. I don't know. Okay, but first is the reference to the Mandela effect version where everybody remembers it as when the lion lays down with the lamb because of the alliteration, but actually the book says that when the lion and the wolf lay down together. That was part of it. Oh no, the wolf story. Yes. If you've been following the live streams of the channel, you may remember that it was my due intention to eat a lion. And that's why I'm already working super hard on my own agency. Reminded me of the incident where I was like, "Hey, I'm going to eat my lion, y'all," and then much like in that Christopher Walken clip, the lion was like, "All right, that's enough," and ate me, and I was going to confess along the lines of I think that. The going from from not to having withdrawals during an event made it especially difficult and hard to remember things. And that sometimes like the lion might leave you alone until you tell it you're going to eat it, or it'll let you walk and talk and say you're going to eat it, but when you start trying to actually eat it, it's going to probably eat you. And as such, please, I've come to understand that it's best to defer to a higher power when you decide that you're gonna ask for some help. Ask for some help from a higher power if you're gonna try and eat your lion, because otherwise, it's just really difficult. It's just really difficult, and there are consequences. So that's why wolves and lions was on the card. I, I don't know. Perhaps there's something to do with this as it relates to the Thunder Bay Summit event. We're going to talk about this in a minute, but the YouTube keeps giving me this thing I started watching, Jordan Hall and the Future of Technology and Religion. Can I get a thumbnail that says me saying? Anyway, that's what that Heavy Things Lightly here is the guy who did the emceeing, the master of ceremoniesing at the summit, and this was an interesting talk for the first 20 minutes or so. I guess I apparently stopped, but I don't know if that had anything to do with wolves and lions. How am I supposed to know? It just comes out this way. This means that the individual's psyche is far from being safely synthesized. On the contrary, it threatens to fragment only too easily under the onslaught of unchecked emotions. While this situation is familiar to us from the studies of anthropologists, it is not so irrelevant to our own advanced civilization as it might seem. We too can become dissociated and lose our identity. We can be possessed and altered by moods, or become unreasonable and unable to recall important facts about ourselves or others, so that people ask, "What the devil has gotten into you?" We talk about being able to control ourselves, but self-control is a rare and remarkable virtue. Okay, now, pounding our way through these cards. Next up on the hit parade is Agent Baxter. Agent Baxter over here shared this tab and stayed on the Christian Baxter Whitey channel. CB Whitey right over here. A place to think out loud. And maybe it ties into this Jordan Greenhall thing, but the reason it became on the card is because as you may or may not know, I'm trying to develop basically a Cyberpunk 2024 based on captains and flotillas on the internet and how show hosts have certain skill sets and proficiencies. And as external parties, I would be asked of you perhaps to, if it strokes your curiosity as it has mine, to compare and contrast my performance as a delegate of a channel of one's own ship. We'll just leave it at that. Not anything in specific to the corners per se, but like the methods of like what to do and not to do, and the morality thereof of perhaps say a bootleg, and the motives behind actions and whether or not they're strategically targeted. And I just think that's a curious examination. And in that examination, we can have names for moves like, oh, he did this thing, and then we call that as a. It's an opportunity for a defense against a dark arts class at some point, but those things we don't have. We have to pull them together, and that's why. The card said Agent Baxter. Here, let's take a sampling from what we were talking about at, say, I don't know, the 33rd minute or so.
Are crossed together. There's actually two distinct areas. One
and let me just say, I had the opportunity to speak with this Jordan Greenhall fellow at the thing, but I did not take it, and I remembered how terrible it seems almost intentional. His sound is this terrible. I think I said, dude, what the hell with your sound? It's insulting. But
one area is when you carry too much, more than yours to properly carry. The other is when you carry too little. And let's say that in the earlier versions of Scythium, I was carrying too much.
Let's say in the earlier versions, I was carrying too much.
And now, maybe I'm beginning to learn how to carry exactly the part that I'm supposed to carry. And the rest is being...
And then maybe now, I'm learning how to carry exactly... No, sir. I thought Papa Peterson says, pick up the heaviest thing. The heaviest thing is the image bearing. The image bearing is the heaviest thing. Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert. Okay, so that's why that was on the card, and now this fresh one again.
How this could be used to allow people to connect and get past the status game. So I'm just gonna play with this right now, which is weird. It could be your CEO. It could be your boss. It could be your CEO. It could be your boss. It could be your CEO. It could be your boss. It could be your CEO. It could be your boss. Right? So that would be cool, in my opinion. That would be very cool.
Remember, everybody, there is no agency. What do you got? Well, this should have been in there a long time. What is it? It's the new Eclipse Grift. Where we're going back to the OG. The OG, well, you see, the OG was Patreon. And if you find the videos, Papa Peterson made a big stink out of not using Patreon. Papa Pasio still does. I morally left the platform myself because they use the funds you give them to monitor my off-platform activity, and they let me know in the terms of service. Yes. The question is how many? How many can you get out with you? Okay, and then all right. We're going to the most valuable. All right, that's on the bottom of the whiteboard. And that's not doing that one yet. We'll finish off this card here, which says now the Thunder Bay teaser promise. And rather than bothering with the banner, I'll just play it if I can find it. Where is it? Well, you loaded it up. There it is. And then the part you were going to play, probably this one.
Using it and created by it.
I think that this moment and your work affords the possibility of going back into a medieval grimoire, right, and saying, okay, we can now understand this in a better way that the horror movie doesn't understand. This kind of...
Where are they meeting?
They were meeting in Thunder Bay, but that part, the I don't know that we've delivered on that, and that was one of my regrets about the attendance of the Symbolic World Conference. It felt like trolling it would be trolling Pajot's birthday party, and that's a hard thing to do. You have to be a tough person to do that kind of work. But this ability for us to see the channels together and the talk soup behold a fashion. While we are happy to discuss our things, meanwhile, people at mass volumes are being programmed with things like this esoterica channel. And I suspect heartily that Justin Sledge is there to smash something, whether or not, on a metaphysical level, that's what's going on. He says, exploring the arcane side of history, philosophy, and religion. And it feels like when I went on with Karen Wong and recommended the lawyer grifter in the death cult, Tom Witteweather. It's this level of defense against the dark arts is one that I'd like to start feeling out of. How do we do this and make sense of where do we what and when do we address as far as esoterica and old grimoires and their meanings being projected out there onto us? And are those meanings accurate, or are they designed to lead us towards something like feeding babies to a monster? So that's why all of that was on those cards.
Are you sick and tired of being asked about the TLC? When you look at this corner, do you not even think that it's a thing? Well, if you're like me, raise your hand. Because I got what you need. You need Telos tea. That's right. Grab yourself a nice hot cup of Telos tea. Not Telos tea. It's not a thing.
All right, next up on the list is the Paintball Paladins. Not the first time it's been on a card, I'll tell you. And the Spiritual Starter card. Now, the Paintball Paladins thing came about like this. From the experience of attending the Divine Liturgy on Sunday morning at the Orthodox of America, St. Andrew's place. And about that, I have put things on this fancy whiteboard, as you can see here. Now, the first, these are my notes from the Orthodox service I attended. The first one, you can wait. We gotta. What if we? Does that help? Not really. Okay. Well, we tried. The first one here is mnemonic, and as you can see, it's on the blue wisdom die, mind control spectrum, and that was that I didn't know they sang the whole thing, and so essentially the guy in the fancy robes was just singing the verses of the Bible, but then it occurred to me like as this reenactment of an ancient thing happened in front of me, it was quick to make me realize that the illiterate and such could remember the verses better if they were sung, and we probably could too, and that we don't pay attention enough to memory technology and techniques. And that was one of my notes from the Ordo notes, is boy, they sing it a lot. It was kind of interesting at the end of it, when the Orthodox guy did give a shout out to Pajot Fest, which was fun, and was actually just speaking with his normal voice. It was the contrast was rather interesting. You build a memory palace, Zach. You build one. Oh God. Now, if you're familiar with the chakra system, we don't roll an orange die around here but orange is essentially yourself and your sense of self, or your sense of power, how powerful you are, right? And so the note for the ortho note for that's on that layer is the reverential embodiment, is because what essentially the whole thing there was that you go there and you say, this is holy, this is divine, and then you bring it into your body, and it's like, I am part of something holy and divine. And so it's an embodiment of the reverence, to elevate and elevate your own sense of self. Like, it gives you the strength to uphold to avoid the temptations you are led into, perhaps. And that was functioning on that layer, and that's why it was in orange there. Well, I guess we'll go down to the next one next, which is the daily bread of each other.
In all our searching, the only thing we've found that makes the emptiness bearable is each other.
Now, as you can see, I did the daily bread in the red thing because it's a matter of survival. If you're starving to death, I think they give out the anti-Doron bread. I didn't get any, so I don't know actually what was going on with that. But in terms of, as this has gone on for ages and ages, they got an ages and ages thing. I've noticed that was interesting. But as a matter of survival. But the real daily bread is each other, and that's all in the indigo level. You get indigo points for being able to see that one. And then the prodigal what if. It turned out that they do I don't know, a parable. The selection of the week was the prodigal son parable, and you sit there and you see that icon, and as he's singing you the parable, right? It's the icon. Their legs look kind of interesting, but it's the father running to go meet the son, and like, if it produces that as like an egg concept in your brain, right? The notion of what if God would come running to me to help me if I would just turn that way, if I would just, like, all right, well, I'm gonna go be your servant, and what if, and that notion, right? And then you put it on like a pair of goggles, and your heart goes. So that's that was the green one there. That was my bit about the prodigal what if is what I called it. Next up on the hit parade is Dune. Dune. And since that's a word that makes people excited, it gives me an opportunity to play brandings. I don't know what the Orange Catholic Bible is. Zach M says Orange Catholic Bible time. I don't know what that is, but the naming it after a color is kind of interesting. PK Vape says, "Is this from a video, Bob, or just your very original thoughts?" It's from when my thoughts from attending that the the Orthodox service. Another one. It had. I don't know if this is sacrilegious, but it seemed like there was this part where the lantern would go up and down as the door closed and stuff, and it felt like very much a medieval play, and so it was hard not to see this whole thing as a psychotechnology for formation. But maybe that's that's worthwhile. Maybe that's. Oh, it's the standardized Bible in Dune. Yeah, it's been a while. That's interesting. You bring that up because the notion I've been toying with is to Dune Book Club read along, whatever, for the members of the member channel. Do a chapter and either read it or just read it and then talk about it as a members only thing for the channel. Just to show that you're willing to buy in. You're buying in. I don't know. I thought about it. I'm thinking about it. I'm gonna do. I think it's time to read through Dune again, just to keep up with the mimetic. Like, since it's a mass product with well pushed appeal and whatnot, it's gonna have mimetic gravity, mimetic penetration into the pop cultural mind, and therefore it makes it a good for chunks of cross-languaging via GIFs and whatnot. Darmok, when the walls fell. Now, also, that's the thing, is the Paintball Paladin's reason was on this card is because I think it might be more worthwhile to not push the broad anti-denominational the denominational competition of PB4J with the Baptists shooting the Catholics and the Catholics shooting. I don't think maybe it needs to start with the Orthodox as paladins, because the key to the notion behind Paintball for Jesus itself is to get poor kids off of video games. You say, hey, you want to play paintball? And they say, yeah, that'd be great, but it's too expensive. You say, well, if you come to church every Sunday, you can be on our team. And I'm off the video games and into fearing the Lord. And that's a win-win for everyone around. And maybe because the divine liturgy is the divine liturgy, maybe it should be a thing that blossoms within the Orthodox. And then you get to use paladins, which is perfect for the social justice warrior thing there. And it says spiritual Sardukar again. Those of you who are becoming even more Dune, what do you call it? The vocabulary, you're mimetically primed by Dune. Pay attention to the existence of the Sardukar, which are Emperor's troops, which are trained on the terribly horrible planet. Okay? They are trained on the terribly horrible planet, and maybe it's a planet of spiritual warfare, and maybe that makes it a hard place to image bear, and maybe, and that's why spiritual Sardaukar is on the card. It's the counter proposition, the antithesis of Ned Flanders' Christianity, right? that, Big Mo. Ned, he said Ned did a number of mind control on the old general. Oh, I'm the old one now. So yes, potential Dune Read to Walk Party. What do you guys think? Let me know. And the next I had on the card here says most valuable. And so, like, you guys sent me on a big fancy trip. I saw wonderful things and learned wonderful things. Of the whole experience, what's the most valuable? And of course, the time with family wins that. But secondary to the time with family, I was able to have during, thanks to your beneficence. Beneficence. Special thanks to the Shadow Cabal. So say we all. I had the moment that is listed on this board as G Plus meditation permission slips. And the G Plus part of that is once upon a time. You see, this is not the first attention platform this entertainment persona vessel has appeared on. And X is not the only one either, but once upon a time there was one called G Plus. And during the time on G Plus, I was pursuing the what do you call it? Entheogenesis. They got a big fancy word for using plants to endotheosis, whatever. I was researching the plant medicines, hoping to change my brain from its always wanting to not be here state, the fantasizing and not just hating life, basically. And I was looking into making plans to do that to you. And there was this piece that came across on G Plus that struck me to my core and was shoved dark and far away in my forget-me-hole. And it was that it was a group of people making the argument that anything you can, like, your brain is so fantastic that anything you can make it do with chemicals, you can make it do with will and discipline. And that had been buried and lost. And during this trip, it had resurfaced, and it was now a thing I had to face as something I could no longer shove into a hole and forget. And I believe there was a video, perhaps still members only, that was that particular moment, but that, so far at least, until I can learn the ramifications of the attendance itself, has been the most valuable moment for me of the attendance to the Symbolic World Summit. And therefore, we are now waiting the rest of the aftermath and more. As mentioned in the title, we also get to, of this, I meant to say, John Doe Double Stream Wacky Pack. The Double Stream Wacky Pack. So, that, ladies and gentlemen, is now time for me to check the comments. Remember.
This we should see. We walk
As usual, jump in and wonder what the fuck. Yes. We went over that. The whole first stream of this really was how people don't understand me. And I spent, 20 minutes trying to help them understand one sentence that I had tweeted. Mostly says 19. He's complaining that you guys don't like me, but you're watching anyway. Some people might be hate watching mostly. Some people might be, yes, maybe it's will and grace. I just threw out two words, guys. That's not my official. It's just the gist, that it's, you can do whatever you can do with the chemicals, you can do without the chemicals, using the right two other alchemical, the spiritual alchemical substances of perhaps will and grace, or whimsy and repentance. We don't know what they are, but the gist is you can do it to your brain other ways, and maybe having control over when you feel what way is good times for everybody.
one sees what just a few people become when they wholly embrace their gifts. Others will awaken.
The thing about synchronization of harmonics is that too many syllables for me habits. I don't know what that means. Yes, coffee would be good. We're using Buy Me a Coffee for the Eclipse Grift, which is hopefully us, whoever wants to come, and me in Bosque del Illinois, where the eclipse of this year crosses the path of the eclipse that Trump looked at, as if that has any symbolic relevance or whatever to anyone. And despite being at the Symbolic World Summit, I have not yet recruited a symbolic interpreter to make sense of any of that for us. However, yes, you and your look, Baxter is selling his bootlegs in the hive mind now. What is even in this? I'm walking off. Thanks for attending the second part. And may your bonuses be with you, and may they continue to do so.